Campaign groups, Campaign Against Arms Trade and the Network for Police Monitoring, or NETPOL as most of you probably know them, have said that policing, border control and surveillance have become increasingly militarised in the UK and infiltrated by a war mentality. A report from Campaign Against Arms Trade and the Network for Police Monitoring says there is an increasingly blurred line between the police and the military, and that key areas including counter-terrorism, anti-protest policing, border control and the policing of gangs have adopted a war mentality, describing the hyper-militarisation of British policing agencies as deeply troubling. The report, titled A Very British Problem, The Evolution of Britain's Militarised Policing Industrial Complex, which I will link to in the description, describes the increasing use of high-tech surveillance tools such as phone data extraction technology, mobile fingerprint scanners, facial rec tech, and how this all vastly tips power in favour of the state. It stated that armed counter-terrorism units, immigration enforcement and UK border force draw directly from the military handbook. Police officers are increasingly acting like border guards working with the Home Office to carry out immigration control. The report also details the concern that surveillance technology is being rolled out whilst sufficient legislative or parliamentary oversight is absent, including the fact that there is no single authority guiding the adoption and use of new technologies. Dr. Karen Witzberg, the author of the report, said, "The police are increasingly relying on high-tech, data-driven and military-grade technology to surveil the British population." Emily Apple, a communications coordinator at NETPOL, said, "This report busts the myth that the police in the UK govern or have ever governed by consent. It lays out what those from marginalised communities know all too well, that institutionalised and structural racism results in over-policing, excessive force and disproportionate criminalisation. With the Police, Crime, Sentencing and Courts Act, we're more likely to see increased criminalisation and surveillance of protesters. It's down to all of us to monitor what the police are doing and to defend our right to dissent." Now, the Home Office obviously disagree with an independent report on the matter. They much prefer to rely on their own biased reporting by organisations funded by them, and said that all policing and law enforcement practices are underpinned by some of the most robust guidance and laws in the world, and to suggest otherwise is wrong. Agencies including police, immigration enforcement and border force will face times when they put themselves in danger to deliver for the public, so it is only right that they are trained and deployed to the highest standards. Now, I think most of you can probably agree that when you look at the Bobby of today compared to the Bobby of 20 years ago, there's a vast difference in their appearance. Now they actually look like a paramilitary force rather than a trustworthy and friendly local copper, with more and more people being given access to the police's tools of the trade to abuse against the general member of the public. For example, a taser being pulled and used on someone simply because they won't stand still, or because the plod is too unfit and fat to chase them. When tasers are meant for life or death situations, they should never, ever be unholstered unless there is a threat to life. But we see it all the time because plod are weak and is about to get schooled by some mouthy teenager. Now, I agree wholeheartedly that the British police is becoming militarised, and although it's been done slowly enough for many people to just ignore and now see it as normal, along with the propaganda TV shows, I certainly haven't missed the changes, and I definitely do not like where this is heading. It almost reminds me of RoboCop when the Omni Consumer Products Corporation takes over policing in Detroit and use their newfound power to destroy areas of the city that they want to take over and repurpose for corporate profits.